What's going on, everybody? It's JJ, back at it. So, talk to you guys about the life of a car dealer. I sold this car, what was it, Saturday, I believe, or one of these days. And this is the things that you have to deal with when you become a car dealer. Every time something goes wrong with a car, you're going to get customers who are going to call you. And you have to reiterate to the customers that that they're buying a car as is, like you're not responsible for any repairs after the sale. I mean, you do your best to try to help people out as much as you can, but I mean you can only do so much, because a lot of times the customer doesn't realize, like, you're not making that much. Sometimes you sell a car, you're really not making no money off the car. Sometimes you just sell a car, sometimes just to break even. So you really want to go over, like, when you're selling a car, you want to go over to them the as is form. Like, once I sell you this vehicle, it's as is, and once you leave my lot, I'm not responsible for anything like that. But you don't try to leave people stranded or anything like that, but you just have to explain to people, because people, that's one form. Like, dead form and a wheel form is basically, just stating that nothing was promised or implied. Like, you want to go over that one as well, because you don't want to imply to your customers that you may fix their car or something like that. You don't want to imply or emphasize anything like that, like, oh, I maybe fix your vehicle or something go wrong. Like, don't even imply anything like that. Just let them know that the car is sold as is. I mean, but if the car is having like a major issue, like something like a blown head gasket, transmission, or like engine problems within like the day or two that you sell, then help them out right there. Get them in, replace them. But like I said, I just had this caller, this person that had the car a couple days, and they're calling me about that their alternators going bad or alternators going out. I'm like, it's a used vehicle. It's like alternator is a common problem that goes on with purchasing a used vehicle. Like, people don't realize, like, I'm not a mechanic, so I don't have a special tool or anything like that to let me know, like, oh, this alternator is gonna go out in 2 days, or this battery is gonna go out, or your ball joint is gonna start going bad in 3 days. Like, I'm not a mechanic. Like, so like, what people call you and they just expect, like, oh, you sold me the car, so I'm supposed to do something about it. But people don't realize, like, when you sell a car as is, it's just basically like selling a car as somebody on the street. Like, only thing different between a dealer selling a car on the street and person selling a car really on the street is just, I have a place of a business and I have a registered business. The person on the street doesn't. Like, if you buy a car from a person on the street and 2 days later your alternator goes bad, you can't call that person that you bought the car from on the street and be like, oh yeah, the alternator went bad, what can we do to resolve this? Like, you bought the car from somebody on the street, is as is. That's just like a dealer. But a lot of people try to, like, as a dealer, they try to tell you, like, oh, you're a dealership, you're supposed to handle these things and stuff like that. But I mean, it's something like, you can't fix every situation, because these are used cars. Like, they're used cars, they've been used 2-3 times, so you can't go around trying to fix every little problem for the customer, because once you do that, then you didn't even make any money off the vehicle. Because think about it, let's say, okay, I go out here and fix this customer's alternator, boom, bam, then maybe who knows, next brake lights or brakes or wheel bearing or something, like, maybe start going wrong the next day. Then he calls me back. Then now that you already fixed one thing, they're gonna feel like, okay, since he fixed one thing, let me call him again and see, and maybe maybe he'll fix this other problem. And then it just gets to that cycle where they just keep calling you and want you to fix everything. And you have to just let people know, like, I'm selling you this car as is. And you have to keep reiterating that time, because a lot of times people are just so happy about buying a car that they forget that they just bought this car as is, and they just want you to basically fix every little minor problem. I done had so many people call me about so many minor problems, like, hey, my brakes are a little spongy. Like, hey, the brakes are spongy. Like, I have to keep explaining to people, like, you're calling me, but I'm not a mechanic myself. Like, I do know how to do some mechanically inclined work, but I'm not like a hands-on mechanic. I don't like working on cars. I done had people call about brakes being spongy. I didn't have people that called me that the windshield wipers just stopped working. the car's not calling friend, windshield wiper fluid, the turn signal has stopped working, one of the brake lights has stopped working. It's just, once you become a dealer, you're gonna have people call you. Like, so one problem go wrong, they're gonna call you, and once you fix one thing, they're gonna expect you to basically fix the whole car. That's why you need to literally go over like this as is form. And this as-is form really goes over everything. Like, it basically lists on there, here are major defects that may occur in used vehicles. Leakage from the radiator, improper function of the water pump, improperly functioned alternator, generator, battery, or starter, visible leakage, gauges on warning devices, air conditioner not working, heater, transmission fluid leaking, differential leaking, head gas, engines missing, belts and frames bent and all that, tires mismatched, wheels, visible cracks, your power steering, there's too much play in there and stuff like that. All that stuff is listed, in the as-is form, but a lot of times people just sign a page and go over. That's why you have to sit down and try to reiterate to people, like, that this vehicle is sold as is, because a lot of times people just call you and then they want you to just fix their problem, not knowing that you're a car dealer and you're selling so many cars, or you're dealing with so many cars that you got other people calling them to get their problems fixed as well too. You're not the only person that bought a car from you. But like I said, basically just go over that as is form. Basically, let people know, like, if you don't sell it, especially if you don't sell any extended warranties. And a lot of times the extended warranties don't really fix anything too, especially like a lot of these warranty companies will definitely not fix anything like a day after you sold the car or two after you sold the car. But people will call you a lot of times, like, about the most minor stuff, like, like this person was having like an engine problem, transmission, head gasket or something like that. Then I'll go out there and help them, try to switch them out in vehicles, or do my best to help them in that part. But you can't call people, you can't go out there and just help people when people have to deal with the minor problems of buying a car. Like, these are used vehicles that I'm selling you guys under $2,000, and they're gonna come, like, they're gonna come. It's not gonna be a perfect car for under $2,000. And it's just, it's gonna have minor things are gonna happen. That's just with any vehicle. Like on my BMW, I bought this car, my starter went out, I had to replace the valve cover, like, stuff like these used vehicles, and people have to understand that. So this video is basically, just to help you dealers, and also just to give awareness to people who go out there and buy cars and, try to complain to a dealer. Like, a dealer is just the same as a person on the street. They're just the person that spend more money to get their place of business, to get their license, and basically just being able to buy more cars than the person, your everyday person. But when they sell a car, it's just like the person selling the car. They sell it to you both as is. So you call them back and about every minor problem is really like, you're not obligated to help anybody. You just help somebody just being nice. So I try to help as many people being nice, but I can't stress, like, helping people. I can't just try to fix every minor problem, because then that cuts into whatever profit that I did make off the car. And then, like, you start fixing too many problems, then you don't make any profit. So basically, like, you just gave the person a car, for nothing. Don't want to let this video drag on too much longer, but I appreciate you guys support and information. Just wanted advice and all the feedback you guys have been giving me. I appreciate you guys. I'm out. See you guys in the next video. Like, share, subscribe to the channel. More videos to come. Appreciate you guys. I'm out. Peace.